Well, what if I told you that a fully armed, state-sponsored military operation was completely routed by birds? To understand how this happened, we have to look at Western Australia in the 1930s. It's a vast, unforgiving landscape where making a living off the land is already a brutal uphill battle. During this time, struggling farmers were hit with a massive crisis. Their hard-earned wheat crops were being systematically flattened and devoured, pushing entire communities right to the edge of financial ruin. The culprit destroying these fields was a massive, nomadic biological force. As this image shows, enormous flocks of giant, flightless emus were migrating straight through the agricultural belt. Facing total economic collapse from a threat they simply couldn't handle on their own, the desperate farmers pleaded for help. This created a vacuum, and the government decided to step in. Instead of sending agricultural experts or wildlife management teams, the officials in charge opted for a completely outsized response: brute military force. They literally sent in the army. Look at these soldiers marching in perfect formation. The government deployed actual combat veterans into the wheat fields to wage war on the birds. They bypassed standard rifles entirely. The military hauled in Lewis machine guns, heavy, rapid-fire artillery designed for the brutal trench warfare of World War I, far exceeding anything required for pest control. By applying rigid military tactics to an instinct-driven herd, the government had effectively staged a direct confrontation between human hubris and the raw unpredictability of nature. The soldiers marched out expecting a straightforward sweep. They assumed a cluster of large, flightless birds would simply stand there and serve as easy target practice. But the moment the shooting started, the emus deployed their natural defense. As seen in this blurred photo, it possesses incredible burst speed, sprinting up to 30 miles per hour, completely destroying the military's timing. The birds refused to stick together. When they heard gunfire, the massive flock instantly exploded outward into tiny, isolated groups. The sweeping cone of heavy machine gun fire became practically useless, built for tightly packed infantry, not scattered individuals. To make things worse, the birds ran with erratic, zigzagging movements. They changed direction on a dime, making it impossible to track them. Through pure biological reflex, the emus had inadvertently behaved exactly like a mobile infantry unit, scattering in a way that left the heavy guns with nothing to aim at. While the emus were fast and agile, the human military was burdened by heavy, cumbersome technology. Just as the soldiers finally managed to corner a large group of birds, their weapons failed. In one major encounter, a machine gun jammed after firing only a few rounds, allowing hundreds to escape into the brush. Frustrated, the commander ordered a tactical shift. They mounted one of the machine guns onto a truck, hoping to chase the emus down across this rugged, uneven scrubland. The truck was faster, but the rough outback terrain turned the ride into a nightmare. As shown here, a gunner bouncing wildly over rocks and ditches couldn't keep his aim steady enough to land a single shot. After days of dragging heavy equipment, firing thousands of rounds, and chasing shadows, the human troops were physically exhausted and entirely demoralized. It proved a hard lesson. Lethality means nothing when the enemy and the battlefield refuse to play by your rules. Less than a month after it began, the operation was called off. The military withdrew their forces after firing nearly 10,000 rounds of ammunition for a laughably low casualty rate among the birds. The commanding officer had to submit official after-action reports, reluctantly admitting that his heavily armed troops were thoroughly bested by the emu's mobility and toughness. The press had a field day. Newspapers published mocking headlines like this one, turning the failed campaign into a national joke and declaring the native birds the undisputed victors. The Australian government had literally deployed its armed forces and effectively surrendered to a flock of flightless birds. So how does an absurdity like this actually happen in recorded history? It happens when we assume that complex natural problems can be solved simply by throwing overwhelming force at them. The government thought guns could overpower biology, and biology won. You're watching Untold Indian Stories, a channel dedicated to uncovering the specific, documented events that defy conventional logic. If you want to explore more bizarre history and forgotten mysteries, hit that like button, share this video, and make sure to subscribe. In the end, the Great Emu War stands as a hilarious, sobering reminder. Never underestimate the sheer, stubborn resistance